tiny 45 horsepower open wheelers to massive Trans Am style muscle cars, the group over at the Rocky Mountain Vintage Racing Association really know how to put on a show. Tie that with when they collaborate with the Morgan Adams Foundation for their annual Race Against Kids Cancer event, and you have what is not only a really enjoyable event, but one that fights for a good cause too. Which, given how 2020 has been punching everyone in the gut and then just breaking their noses, having some great camaraderie, great racing, and fighting for a good cause is exactly what we needed, the kind of wholesomeness we needed to really pick ourselves up from what is largely thought to be a disastrous year. So coming up is a bunch of footage that I hope not only entertains you, but also warms your heart. Roll the footage.
Well, we are here at High Plains. This is after I've shot a little bit of B-roll and some footage that'll be used in the beginning. God dang, I already got to switch my hands. Feels bad.
Here's your starting lineup for the Formula Ford.
If I seem a little bit winded, it's because I am. I've done a lot of running around, and I went at about 8/10 not long ago. For longer than I think I genuinely can. So, I'm dead. But anyway, we are here at High Plains. It is a beautiful day. It's hot. The thing that sucks is that while it's beautiful, it is very, very hot. Right now, we're walking down the middle of the paddock. We got some minis. We have some RX-7s. There's a lot of cars here. In fact, I think it's actually more than last year. Quite funnily enough. There's also a lot of RVs. Like a lot of RVs. But considering this is a multi-day weekend with Friday, starting off with some testing for some people, I suppose I'm not that surprised. We've already had a race. We've already had a qualifying as well. In fact, I think it's about 11:50 at the moment. Everything started way early. I only got here at about 10, pretty much right at 10. So 2 hours after all the festivities started, which is a little bit unfortunate. But anyway, I'm going to get some B-roll, more B-roll with the gimbal of cars in the paddock. Probably some photography of cars in the paddock, and I think talk to a few people about their cars. And so yeah, oh hey, check that out. Cars like that and more are to come.
Not yet, though. See, not too long after I filmed that segment, more of those open wheel cars went racing on track and some accidents took place during the race. Now, due to the geography of High Plains Raceway and due to where I was at the time, I can't properly explain to you guys what happened, but the gist of it is that a crap ton of suspension components just were eviscerated that day. The footage you're now seeing is of one of the cars that got into an accident. Don't know which accident and of what kind. But quite a crowd turned up to see the car being unloaded, some of whom I think were friends and or part of the crew and were there to check the damage. Not long after that, actually, the driver of the car turned up and thankfully was okay. They seemed to be in fairly good spirits too for what was unfortunately their car being in not the best of conditions. Now, as I said before, I'm not quite sure what the nature of the accident was, but to my eyes, the car looked to be in remarkably good condition, save for the front and rear left side suspension. After seeing why there was such a crowd and then sticking around to see if the driver was okay, I walked just a little bit down the ways to find this tasty dark blue Datsun 510. Obviously, the immediate reason why it caught my eye was because it was an awesomely dark shade of blue, and any of you who know me know that my favorite color is blue and that my favorite kind of blue is dark blue. However, it also caught my eye because it had some seriously DTM-ish looking fenders on it. There was also a red one in front, but that had, instead of it just being the entire fender being flared, it was more like there was a flare around the arch. So the red one in front didn't have those kinds of fenders, despite them actually being largely similar as it turned out, and as far as I saw, hardly any other car at the event did as well. So why this owner decided to add some utterly meaty fenders to what is normally a pretty quaint car is a story I'll have to hear sooner or later. There were tons of cars like this in the pits though, a much lighter blue BMW 2002, what the owner seems to affectionately call the original 2 Series, and they're gosh darn right about that. 3 '81 Mazda RX-7s, 2 of which were actually fairly similar, excluding the more infamous import-esque bumper that was on the white and lime green one, and even a car that could have, and I believe should have, fought the Minis, a Hillman Imp! Sadly, it was relegated to the trailer for that day. Perhaps it, like the Minis, couldn't escape some teething problems, but even getting up close to its little hidey hole in the trailer was seriously cool. Not only that, but there was this stunning 1980s Lotus Elan. It was in the Lotus Yellow, very much like the one Richard Hammond drove on Top Gear a while back, and it even had the original wheels. Unfortunately, most of its beautiful form was being obscured by a car cover. Dang it. But nevertheless, it was easy to see just how much of a wedge car this generation of Elan was. Very 80s, unsurprisingly. Seeing it in the flesh really helped me to understand how one could see this as a mid-engine alternative to the Miata, even though it was front-wheel drive and likely a good bit more expensive. In US spec, didn't even know they sold these here in the first place, it made 162 horsepower and 148 pound-feet of torque, making it more powerful than a first-gen Miata. It didn't even have to pay a massive penalty in weight either, tipping the scales at just 2,249 pounds. Compare that to the first-gen Miata's 2,160 pounds. What an underrated gem and a magnificent surprise.
You know, I'm a Miata guy, but I gotta say, this is a treat. This really is quite a treat to see.
Let's get back to some racing action, though. Enjoy these clips.
There's still time to go for race conditions for grid positions.
There you go. That was the C3. Then you have this bright Chevrolet yellow C2 with the fat wheels. Oh wait, they're really not that big, but they look fat under that fender. It looks massive under that fender. And then you have what I'm assuming are brake cooling ducts. Let's see. Yep, there we go. Right where they should be, don't you think? Oh, and it's got the purple. Does Chevrolet ever use purple? Like this? I mean, it seems like a very Chevrolet thing to do. I mean, the yellow is absolutely on point for Chevy. It's not a split window car, although hey, it might have been at one point. But to be fair, I don't really care because it is an awesome coupe C2 setup, kind of just the way I like it. Then we have the mother of all airboxes from this thing. Now this is a McLaren. I should remember what it's called. I think I've taken a picture of one. Yes, I have taken a picture of one. There used to be one at the Haggerty office down in Golden. Unfortunately, I don't remember what it's called at the moment, but here's one that's actually being raced. We have another one down on the other side of the track, down by the reverse corkscrew. And that is that's just the most unit of all unit air filters I have ever seen in my life. You're definitely not wanting for air with that. Ooh, messed the focus point there. But yeah, you're definitely not wanting for air. You definitely have enough air, even with the roll cage kind of blocking it. That is just insane. But to be fair, as is the rest of this car. This one, the other one's actually a McLaren orange. Oh, it is a Can-Am car. That's sick. This one is a bit more of a, I don't know, maybe a McLaren red? It's almost orange, but it's really, it's definitely more on the red side for that. This car seemed pretty fast. I'm not sure it was as fast as the other McLaren, but not bad. Not bad. What's that? Maybe that's to get the air pressure out of the wheel well. It'd be a little far back, but what are you going to do? And then you have, so then we have this little weird thing in the middle of the spoiler. Like almost like a wicker boot, but it's not at all. Or a clear. Oh! Maybe that's the clear or something, I don't know. And now you can see some fat tires. So what are those? Maybe gotta be at least 335s minimum. But even then, you look at the rest of the inside here, you look at the rest of the details. It looks like a cluster truck, but it works. It really does work. And then you have, of course, the massive exhaust pipe, the massive singular exhaust pipe that just expels all of the beautiful noise that the engine makes. What is more and it's got that's been interesting, but you know, again, so is the rest of this car. So you look at this car and you say, oh well, you know, that's an F1 car. That looks like an F1 car, but you know, but it's got a Chevrolet V8 in it, and you'd be sort of right. That has a lot of stuff on it. That's amazing. And while I'm not so it's an F5000, so it's not quite an F1 car, but I think you'd be forgiven for thinking that it's something quite close to that. And to be fair, Formula One, you know, you have Formula 2000, which before you get to Formula One, which was where a few of our modern favorites, like Lando Norris, were for a while, and Alex Albon last year. And so Formula racing does have a lot of, oh hey, Lola. Anyway, it does have a lot of mini disciplines, so you can climb up the ranks. So again, you'd be totally forgiven for thinking that is an old F1 car. I think the only thing that really disqualifies it from that is the fact that it has a Chevrolet V8 in it.
And then we save the best for last. This person, his name is Sterling, and he runs Sterling Auto Works. And his story is rather interesting, especially in a sea of, no offense, older gentlemen. It was quite a surprise to see quite a young face at the RMVR, and honestly, quite welcomed. Hopefully, the future of the organization and the motorsport will continue through people like him. But enough blathering from me. Hear what he has to say.
Well, we are here with what seems to be, am I right in saying that these are Formula VWs, or?
No, these are Formula Vs. It's like an open wheel, Volkswagen powered Formula car, yeah.
So I can't help but notice, but you and some of the people that have been around this pit seem to be the youngest people here for a while. So tell me how you got into this and why you chose this car to race.
So pretty much what ended up happening was that Gary Gray over at Taco Cat, he's kind of hiding over there or whatever. But
camera shy.
Yeah, exactly. No, he hits me up and he's just like, hey, I got this 1971 Caldwell. I'm like, I don't know what that is, but that sounds cool. And then next thing you know, one thing leads to another. And then we got Formula V cars. So I've been with the group, with the Formula V group or the Rocky Mountain Vintage Racer for about 5 years.
Wow. Okay.
Prior to that, company that we have is called Profinugan Race Service Crew. So we work on 16 to 17 different race cars, going from Pikes Peak Hill Climb all the way out to the vintage cars, rally racing. So next week we're going to be over at the World Racing League doing their race over here too.
Oh, okay.
The week after that we're going to be over at Rally Colorado. Crewing for Bucky Lassick, I think, Lacey Lassick, whatever.
Yeah.
And then crewing for him, and then after that we're doing Pikes Peak.
Yeah.
And crewing for Andy Kingsley for Kingsley Motorsports. So.
You guys are busy.
Oh yeah. Gotta love the hustle.
Yeah. I love the crate. It's got the elephant
track,
theme.
roughly around 135.
Well,
135.
The reason why we have the elephant theme is because of Meredith. Before they used to have an ambassador, so each run group would actually have their own ambassador from the Children's Hospital. So we had Meredith, and her one of her favorite animals was an elephant.
Okay.
So we kind of did that in spirit for her and everything else. So.
Yeah. Kind of a car dedicated to Meredith. Nice.
Well, it's just like the whole group. You'll probably see a few of the other cars will actually have some, if they even change their liveries, they'll still have the Meredith sticker on there. So.
Yeah. So how much power does this one make?
This one, I think he said he dynoed it at about 45 to 50 horsepower.
Okay.
So, but the vehicle doesn't weigh anything, so it kind of, it's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Like, hold on.
The most stout 45 horsepower ever.
You'd be surprised. Like, I driven like 1.8 turbos and everything else in Golfs, and then I was like, man, those things look kind of slow when you see it on the track, but then when you get in it, oh my goodness. It's just a lot of fun. A lot of speed, a lot of fun.
I've sat in one of these 2 years ago, and I'm a small guy. I'm barely 100 pounds, 5'4", but even this was tight for me.
Oh.
Even that cockpit was pretty tight.
Well, it's like a suit, you know.
Yeah.
You gotta make sure that you're nice and tight with it, you know, that sort of thing, so you can perform with it. It's almost like the individual's becoming a symbiont with the vehicle itself, you know. So that's what's awesome with dealing with these the older vintage cars, that you actually have the ability to be able to be part with the vehicle itself, versus like on the newer vehicles, they have so many sensors, electronics, and everything else.
Electric steering for the most new ones.
Exactly. Electric steering, like, it's fantastic and great, but I kind of want to understand like where the road's at and everything else.
I want to feel the pebbles down the track.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm still on my learner's permit, so I just drove my dad's VW Tiguan down here. It's a 2016 model. I'm 18.
Oh, okay.
How old did you think I was?
Oh, I'd be like 22.
I get that all the time. It's so funny.
Oh, that's good. Just roll with it, man.
Yeah, and he used to have a CRV before that. It was a 90-something Honda CRV, and as nice and modern as that Tiguan is, I actually really enjoyed the CRV because it was light. It had old-fashioned hydraulic steering. You could really feel the road.
Yeah.
It didn't have a lot of power. I went flat out once just trying to get up to speed on the roadway there, and nothing. Just a lot of noise, but not much go. But it was so. Because of that, it was just such a comedy vehicle to drive. It was so much fun.
Oh, nice.
And so I kind of miss it, but the Tiguan it makes getting around town and everyday stuff quite easy.
That's
so
what it is. That's
there's
what we need.
there's a place for that, but for the racetrack, I'd want something like this where it's very visceral and raw.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Sterling, buddy, it was great meeting you, and I hope to see you at other events. But for the rest of you watching, I do hope you enjoyed this rather lengthy video. I surprised myself. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment, share, and subscribe, hitting the little notification bell and then all notifications. That way you'll be notified every time I upload. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time.